Hey everybody, welcome to Rican's Awesome Wrestling. Today we've got another clip from the Stone Cold Steve Austin Show on Podcast 1. This time it's Bruce Prichard talking to Steve Austin about how he got into the WWE, WWF, whatever you want to call it. Let's go ahead and roll that clip.
So then Watts tries to take this thing nationwide. It doesn't pan out so well. And then, so how did you end up in WWF?
Well, I was working for Bill there, and out of the blue, we show up and do TV in Louisiana, and I'm with Joel Watts, and we're sitting at the Holodome there in, oh, God, I can't remember the name of the town, but we're in Louisiana.
I know exactly where you're talking about, and I can't remember it either.
And we go into the restaurant there in the hotel to get lunch, and Joel and I are the only two people in there, and we're about ready to finish up our lunch, and in walks Jim Ross, Jim Crockett, Tim Willett, who was one of his syndicated guys, and his lawyer. And they come in, they walk into this restaurant. Now, we're the only two people in there.
Right.
Literally. And they completely blow us off and ignore us and go over and sit at a table on the other side of the room. Joel is boiling because rumors had been running rampant that Watts was selling the territory.
Right.
And we finish up and everything, and Joel's pissed off. He says, fuck them, I'm getting out of here. So I said, Joel, let's go over and say hello. And he says, no, fuck them, man, I'm getting out of here. And we leave the restaurant. I said, Joel, dude, you know they saw us. They know we saw them. Let's just walk back in and say hello. So we walk back in, walk over to the table. I introduced myself to Crockett, even though I'd worked for him a couple times at the Superdome shows and everything.
Yeah.
And sits back in his chair and says, Joel, I just bought your daddy's company today. And Joel doesn't really say anything, doesn't sell anything. And we're like, okay, hey, nice to see you guys. Guess we'll see you later. And so we leave, and we go back to the room where we're writing TV, and Joel's pissed, man. He's pissed because his dad didn't tell him anything. So we go back, and then we're getting ready to do TV, and it was Ken Mantell was booking.
Right.
And Eddie Gilbert was helping out with the book, and so we're going over TV, and it's me, Eddie Gilbert, Ken Mantell, and Joel's there because Joel's director of the show. So we're going over TV, and there's a knock at the door, and it's JR and Jim Crockett. And they come in and say, guys, look, hey, just wanted to let you know, I bought the company, and the only thing that's going to change is the name on the check. Look forward to seeing you tonight, man. Have a great show. Nothing's going to change. They said nothing's going to change probably 10 times.
Right.
So they leave, and we're sitting there, and about 10, 15 minutes later, knock on the door, and there's JR. He comes in, and he says, hey guys, let's see what you got. And he goes, I'd just like to, look over TV, before we get over there. We start going over TV, and we're about in the second segment, and JR says, well, yeah, I don't know about this guy. He's kind of got, he got a little history there with Jimmy Crockett, and probably, I don't know how long he's going to be around. And we're like, okay, I thought nothing was going to change. Well, goddamn, just, got this one guy, come on. So we keep going, get down now, about segment 4. Yeah, guys, I don't know if we won't make this switch here right now, this time, because I don't know if, how long he's going to be, with Jimmy and everything. And so we get through the show, man. There's probably about 3 or 4 different guys now that may or may not be with us going forward. But nothing was going to change other than name on the show.
No.
So I went down and I made a phone call to Stamford, Connecticut. And I called Vince, and I said, hey, man, Jim Crockett has bought the territory from Bill Watts. So I don't want to work for Jim Crockett. I said, don't worry about it, man. He goes, everything will work out. He goes, you got a spot up here, but just hang in there for right now. Don't do anything drastic.
Right.
I'm like, all right. And then Paul Bosch, when he found out about it, he sent Bill a telegram and sent Crockett a telegram that in no way did he want to do business with Jim Crockett, and that Houston would not be a part of the deal, and that he was investigating other options. And that was Vince. And so Vince came down and met with Paul, Vince, Pat Patterson, and Jim Barnett. Oh, my boy, Jim Z. And did you ever know Barnett?
Oh yeah, man. I love Jim Barnett. He was a good guy to me.
Steve, you're always my favorite.
Yeah, it was the same old rigmarole he probably gave to everybody. But and I was only a mechanic down there, but he was really good to me. And of course, Jim's an interesting cat, but he was very, very good to me.
Yeah. So they came down and they met, and Vince called me the night before. He says, "All right, Bruce," he goes, "I'm coming down to meet." I said, "Oh yeah," he goes, "I'm looking forward to seeing you." He goes, "When we meet, it is the first time that we ever are going to talk to each other. Do you understand what I'm saying?" I said,
Right.
"Oh yes, sir." He goes, "So when we meet, we've never talked before, we've never met before, nothing." He goes, "You just, and then I'll talk to you tomorrow night after the meeting when I get back." So he came down, they met, and decided to do some business with Paul down there. And Vince told me, he says, "Look, I'd like for you to help with the transition, and then when time's right, come on up to Stanford." And that's how it happened.
So Prichard ended up in WWE because of Bill Watts' sale to Crockett. Now, I loved Bill Watts as a booker. I loved watching his stuff, and I was sad to see it. I was sad to see all that go. So why don't you guys tell me, were you around for the territories? What was your favorite moment in the territories? What territory were you sad to see go? Other than Bill Watts, for me, it was World Class. I was a huge World Class fan. That was the first wrestling I ever saw. So let me know if you saw the territories, if you were a fan of that stuff. What was your favorite moment in the territories? Which territory are you sad is gone? If you didn't get to see the territories, if you didn't get to see any of this footage, which you should because it's all on the WWE Network now, but if you didn't, listen to the stories that these guys are going to tell in the comments and go ahead and check it out. So hit subscribe, comment, and we'll talk to you guys next time.